Hi everybody, this is Debbie from Simply Special Crafts. Today we're going to take a look at the elegant and beautiful Rose Gold Moments kit from Hunkydory. The Rose Gold Moments kit features the new Rose Gold Mary. It's really beautiful. I have to confess, when I first looked at the Rose Gold kit, I wasn't sure it was one that I was particularly interested in doing. I thought it was beautiful, but I'm not a real pinks person, so I wasn't sure that it was one that I was going to enjoy doing. Boy, was I wrong. This is really a fabulous kit. I had a great time. I think you're going to see as we go through the card samples that we got particularly creative with this kit, and I love the outcome. This kit is done on Matte-tastic, so it's not the glossy finish, it's the soft, flat finish on the cards. And you get 8 sets plus some extra cutout toppers that I'll show you at the end of the video. But it's a really pretty kit. They say you get 16 cards. What did I tell you, honey? 47?
47.
47 cards we got from the Rose Gold Moments kit. Let's take a look. As usual, before we get going on the card samples, I want to take a quick sweep through the materials that we used in the construction of these cards. We used the Rose Gold Moments papers and inserts, highly recommended. You will definitely want the Rose Gold Mary Bumper Pack. It has 20 sheets and one pack will be ample to finish all of your cards. And we used the Rose Gold Luxury Foiled Acetate. Again, another highly recommended supply. Our cards turned out beautiful using this acetate. We used the Blush Pink Glitter. We used Angel Whispers. Other Hunkydory supplies included Hunkydory foam squares. These happen to be 5 by 5 by 2 millimeter. I used, primarily what I used those for was layering my cards, but I also used a few of them in some of my flower embellishments just to give them a little bit of added height. I used the purple low-tack tape. If you watched our little video on the construction of the flowers, you'll see I actually made it kind of a packet out of the dies that I was using so that I could quickly and easily move from cutting plate to cutting plate without having my dies shifting around. I really recommend this too because this will keep your dies from getting damaged if keep one from overlapping with another in your die cutter. And of course, I used my all-time favorite Hunkydory finger lift tape. I actually used several other adhesives I want to run through really quickly. Best glue ever, you know that I like that when I'm looking for a really firm hold or when I'm putting down fabric. In some cases, in many cases actually, I use this to adhere my flowers just to make sure they wouldn't go anywhere. I also used my little Cosmic Shimmer. You know that I use Cosmic Shimmer and Tattered Lace Detail Glue kind of interchangeably. Either of those brands is great for a detail glue. One nice thing about these is that they come with such a fine tip applicator. Sometimes you don't have to use the extra little extra fine tip that I showed you with the tattered lace, although it can come in really handy if you're trying to glue little tiny pieces. I'm going to show you something new and different today. We used the Couture Creations double-sided adhesive. This is a lot like the double-sided adhesive that you can get from Elizabeth Craft or from Score. The difference is that this is made specifically for die cutting, and it is very affordable compared to the other brands. You could certainly use those as well if you already have them. But if you don't have them, consider getting the Couture Creations if we have it in stock. Because of the price point, it sells out every time we get it in. So if you see it available, you might want to score one of those. The Quickie glue pens, these are actually by Sakura. I have them listed in the Hunkydory file because this is the one of the recommended adhesives by Hunkydory. So yes, you can use your Hunkydory sale coupon on those if that coupon is active at the time you're watching this video. I used a Zig 2-way glue pen, and this was, again, if you watch the video on making the flowers, this is what I used to put my glitter on there. Why this and not this one? Because it gives me a much wider nib. Why this and not this one? Because this is just bulkier and this goes on really in a fine coat and it dries really quickly. I could use this, but this is going to give a little bit more volume, and you're actually going to kind of see a little hump where that glitter is. With this one, the glitter will look like it's entirely flat on the paper. A few more supplies that we used in the construction of the video. The Flower Frenzy die. I showed you this in our how to construct the flowers video. I can't say enough about this die set for this particular video. It was just great. Several of you already have this round flower frame. We used this in another video earlier. I used it again, and I think you'll be delighted with the results that you can get using small toppers with the round flower frame and with the flowers frame. I used both of those in today's card samples. We made a couple of these. I really like this. Had we discovered this earlier in the videos, we may have used more of these. I think you'll be surprised at how pretty this little hearts border is from Joycraft. The hearts are all attached with a fine line at the top or at the bottom of your die cut. It's really pretty. And we use the Be My Valentine die from Penny Black. I want to show you just briefly how we used this tape. And one of the questions I've gotten from customers is, how do you glue the extra tiny little pieces that you can die cut? Sometimes it can be a real challenge to get the adhesive onto your die cut. This is one way that you can avoid having to glue. Certainly you can use a fine line glue, or you can use a fine tip applicator. For this particular die, the Be My Valentine, I might consider actually putting that little detail tip on here from Tattered Lace, because I can give you an extra narrow tip. But this is also an option. Like most things in life, there's pluses and minuses to doing this. In this case, we have attached a sheet of this tape to the back of our mirror, and then we cut out the Be My Valentines, and we had a little piece left over here, so I thought I'd actually show you. Now, the good news is that we can cut a piece that already has the adhesive on it. The bad news is it can be, it came off actually fairly nicely, it can be a little challenging to get it off the sheet. So what you give up in the difficulty of putting the adhesive on, you may incur when you actually go to try and take it off the sheet. But the nice part is that you can get a piece that already has full adhesive. Now this has a plastic finish on it, so that wasn't a good place to stick that to show you. But it does go on and stay on really nicely with the adhesive back. So that's one way that you can avoid having to glue those extra tiny little pieces. Finally, the last supplies I want to show you here are that I use some of the double stick hearts from Dazzles. If you're going to be doing a lot of stickers like we were, one thing that you can do is sometimes I will actually, these come with a little liner sheet over the top. That confuses people sometimes. They think, well, how do you get to the material? Well, you peel this little liner sheet back. And if you're going to be doing a lot of projects, what I would do is just literally cut that off, cut off whatever you want to use. Say I want to use these 5 little hearts here. Cut that whole section off, peel off the extra background piece so that you end up with something like this, and then glitter the entire sheet. It's a lot faster and easier, and then I can just peel the stickers as I actually want to use them and apply them on whatever I'm doing. So that's a nice little time-saving tip for doing a lot of double stick stickers. But you can see how beautiful those turn out, just putting the glitter right over the top and then rubbing the glitter in. Once again, in our prior video, I showed you using the little glitter brush. This was a great tool. We have these available in the store. They're very inexpensive. I think they're a couple dollars. You can also use a large makeup brush for the same thing, but to rub off all of the extra glitter and add that back into your jar. These are great. I used a wide variety of rhinestones. 2 of the most common ones that I used, though, were Wanna Scrap. I like these because they have the different sizes on one sheet. And then this is the first time I have done a video where I've used these decorative stones, and we have these available in the jewel section of our store. The nice thing about these don't have the same glimmer as a regular rhinestone. They are still faceted, so they still catch the light, but they're available in some soft, unusual colors you usually don't see in decorative stones. So I use those as well. I'll show you those in the samples. Let's get started here. The first topper set's called Always Believe. You've got these 2 nice big triple frame toppers, some nice borders, some sentiments, happy birthday, always believe something wonderful is about to happen, sending you butterfly wishes, and you're one of a kind sentiments on that one. This is beautiful. Look at this. The shades of pastels and the pinks and the nice pastel vines. And then you've got that beautiful rose gold foiling on one side. This simple butterfly print actually ended up being really useful. I'll show you that. And then somebody asked me, will you please show the papers and inserts as you go? I'm going to show you the inserts with the actual sets, so to make it easier for you to match the inserts. Since the double-sided papers actually can be used with any number of the different kits, I'm going to show you those to you at the end. So here's the 2 inserts for this set. Let's take a look at our card samples here. Here's our first card. This one comes directly off this side. We used a 4x8 card blank. I covered that in mirror board and cut this topper a 1/2 inch smaller. So this topper ends up being 3.5 by 7.5 inches. And then it just had such a beautiful all over pattern. I didn't think it needed a lot of extra embellishment. So I added one of my beautiful Flower Frenzy flowers. This happens to be one that we glittered. I hope you can see the detail in that because the glittering is just spectacular on top of that mirror board. And then we added the always believe something wonderful is about to happen tag coming out from under the flower. But so pretty. Thank you, Brace. My honey's our cameraman today. Say hi.
Hello.
Brittany loves it when I do that. I assume Bryce would love that too. He's not in front of the camera guy. Okay, here's that background paper we talked about. We just used that simple cardstock here. I took a 6x6 card blank. I scored it at 3 inches on the cover only. I cut 2 3x6 inch pieces and covered the back of my card. Then I took this topper, I actually constructed that on another piece of the background material there because I wanted this frame to be multi-level, and I really don't like it when things are kind of floppy up over the edge, so I could create a nice base for that by building this topper set on top of that piece of cardstock and then just trimming out quickly around the edge. It's a really easy frame to cut around. And then I just added my happy birthday topper here. Inside, I used a piece of that beautiful, this actually happens to be one of the double-sided papers that matched that topper set so nicely. Added the little single butterfly off of our topper sheet. Put this border piece here up on a piece of foam tape for a stopper, to act as a stopper for my card. And this is what my card looks like when it's sitting down. Isn't that beautiful? So you got that little easel card. Next up, we have another 6x6 card. And I've taken another piece of that double-sided paper. First I covered my 6x6 in Mary. I cut my double-sided paper 1/4 of an inch smaller, so this is going to be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, this sheet here. So I'd have a nice 1/8 inch border around my topper. I built my outside topper up on some foam squares. I glued this inside rose gold frame flush to my card, and I put my inside topper up on some foam tape. So you can see, I hope, in the camera that there's some dimension to the face of that card. Then I put this time I used a kind of royal purple rhinestone in the center of my flower, and this flower is just made without the glitter. I like the metallic effect of that rose gold as well. And you'll notice as you look at these flowers as we go through that different flowers have different flower pieces added to them. This happens to be the ruffly outer edge. You'll notice some of them are smaller. You'll notice that some of these have like an 8-point flower in the center. This has a 5-point flower. But you can layer those flower petals up in different ways for slightly different effects. A couple of flower branches coming out from that corner. Inside, we've just added the little butterfly button off the topper sheet. And, of course, matching insert paper. That set's done. Okay, next we're going to look at some Valentines that have been created using Where the Flowers Bloom. This topper has some really nice rose blossoms, which is one of the reasons why I chose it for Valentine's. And it has this wonderful greeting that says, if I had a flower for every time I thought of you, I could walk forever in my garden. It's beautiful, and as well as some of these little buttons. We have a thinking of you, we have a for you, we have an all you need is love. Where flowers bloom, so does hope, and for someone special. Beautiful sentiments and a beautiful topper sheet. Here's the all over printed pattern. Look at those nice colors, and I love this lacy effect that they've put along 2 of the borders. Here is our beautiful foiled topper sheet with that lovely rose gold. And here's our insert sheets that go with this set. Let's see what we've done with them. Okay, you've seen this technique before, but I wanted to mention it once again because I really love the way this comes out. In this case, I've taken a 5 by 6.5 card blank that is also known as a USA 6. That's the size that we get from hot off the press. And I covered it with a piece, in this case actually a piece of my double-sided paper. And then I attached my topper sheet to my acetate, and I rough cut around that acetate. When I mean rough cut, I literally just take my scissors and kind of whack this way and that way to get an uneven edge for the acetate. And then I attached my tapes to put my acetate down, of course, across the back where you can't see them. So they're connected behind the topper. And I put my All You Need Is Love up on foam tape. And I did also use my Quickie glue pen and the pink glitter. And I added some glitter accents to this one. Inside, my insert sheet and Be My Valentine. Beautiful. Here comes another Valentine. I'm taking a European A6, which is roughly 4 by 6 inches. I'm using that corner off of the cardstock, which I have glittered. Put some nice tasteful little Angel Whispers glitter in this case. Glitter accents on there. I added a few rhinestones in the jewels around the roses and cut out the Be My Valentine from our rose gold Mary. And I don't know if you can see it on video. I hope you can. I actually filled in this little bubble up here with glue and put some of my Angel Whispers in the heart on the Be My Valentine. And that sparkles really pretty too. I hope you can see that. But if you can't, trust me, it's there. So I've covered my my card in rose gold Mary, and then I've cut my topper slightly smaller. It looks like about a 1/4 inch border on this one, so I would have made my dimensions a 1/2 inch smaller each way. Added the matching insert to the inside. Beautiful. Another Valentine. Here's our third Valentine. If I had flowers for every time I thought of you, I could walk forever in my garden. And it's the same basic concept. This time we've taken an A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's the US standard. That's a 1/4 fold of our regular typing paper size sheet. That's where the A2 comes from. And I have covered that in the rose gold. Then I've taken a piece of double-sided paper and I've cut that to be a 1/2 inch smaller in each direction so that I get a nice rose gold border. I've attached my Valentine here. I've rough cut around attached this to a piece of acetate, rough cut around that to fit the space that I had available. Added a little button topper and I just didn't think it needed anymore. It's really pretty just that way. And then lined it with a simple piece of insert paper. Okay, this one's using that pretty ribbon and the 2 shades of pink background off of the background set for this card set. And I didn't do a lot to this one. I put foam squares under this outer frame. I glued the inner frame down solid. I put foam squares under the center. I put some nice, tasteful Angel Whispers glitter embellishments on my roses and added a few little rhinestones to the jewels. Added a Thinking of You topper that I put up on some foam tape. This card is a USA 6, the 5 by 6 1/2. And I have covered it with rose gold. And then, of course, this background piece is going to be a 1/2 inch smaller each direction. Inside, I've just lined it with my insert paper, my matching insert, and made this for someone special. Very pretty. 4 cards from that set. I love these flamingo toppers. This set is called As Bright as Can Be. And they certainly are that. You've got this big, wonderful flamingo topper here. We've got a round topper here, a smaller round. We've got Stand Tall and Dream Big. I love that. And we've got this probably 3 by 3 inch square multi-frame topper here. We've got Be As Bright As You Can Be, Have a Fabulous Birthday, and Sent With Love, as well as a couple border strips here. Here's our bright and beautiful background cardstock. And here's our foiled cardstock. Can you get all that, honey? And it's at an angle like that. Okay, we've got the really nice flamingo in the corner, and we've got this really nice foiled wide border on this side and do a lot of fun stuff with that. And we've got our 2 insert sheets. Oops. One of them I must have picked up with the cardstock. I did. That match the cardstocks. Set these aside and see what we did with them. Okay. Here's a nice piece of that border cardstock. And as we've done before, I've mentioned before that you don't necessarily have to use those cardstocks the way that they're created. In this case, I've taken that border and made it the top of my card, and that fits really nicely with that Be Bright as You Can Be. And then I've taken that smaller round flamingo, I've broken it into 2 pieces. I glued the outer ring down flush, and I put the inner ring up on some foam tape, and then I used some of our little metallic flowers. Actually, I put one of my border strips down here at the bottom too. And then I've added my flowers. I added a all metallic, non-glittered one here, but I did want to show you something about this. I did not show you this in the samples. In this case, I did not put a rhinestone in the center. I put a little glob of my Cosmic Shimmer glue. I just created a little bubble there in the center of my flower. I put glitter in it, I let it dry, and see how I end up with that little dome in the center of glitter. I think that's really a pretty effect. And I did exactly the same thing with this little tiny flower up here. But these flowers kind of wrapped around from the bottom and cascading down from the top. I thought that was a really pretty effect on that card. Love that. Inside, just have matching insert paper. Be as bright as you can be. This is one of Brittany's cards, and I love what she did here. She took a European A6, a 4x6 card. She covered it in, I believe that's double-sided paper. Nope, that's actually her cardstock background. But she covered it in cardstock. She took a piece of the Rose Gold Mary and she ran it through an embossing folder. The one we happen to have sitting here was Knotted Holly. It doesn't matter that that's a Christmas design. Nobody would ever know it's a Christmas design unless you tell them. And we got this beautiful embossed background here. Then she used, you can see that she constructed her flowers out of both paper and the Rose Gold Mary. And that in this case she's used the Angel Whispers glitter on the rose gold, and that creates this beautiful, nice pink effect in her flowers, which works beautifully with the pink leaves. She's attached her frame in 3 pieces, put the outer frame up on some foam tape, glued the center frame down flush, and put her center up on some foam tape. Isn't that pretty? Inside, just some matching insert paper. This is really simple, but I think it's really simple and really elegant. We've taken that corner piece off of the Flamingo card, and we have mounted that on, this is going to be an A2 card, an A2, which is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we've made this slightly smaller, 3 3/4 by 5. We've cut this insert, or this topper too. And then we've added one of our metallic flowers. Now this one's kind of a combination of both. The flower itself, you'll see the background petals actually have that embossing. The foreground petals are solid metal. I've put a glitter center in that flower. I've put glitter to accent leaves. And I put a glitter center in this one. Then I used one of my glittered hearts. And it's a really simple card design, but it's just so pretty with those, with that pink glitter and the rose gold inside a matching insert. It just didn't need any more than that. It's very, very pretty. This is another one of Brittany's cards. She used a 4x8 topper, used that beautiful border piece, and just covered her 4x8 card. She set this off a little bit to the right so that you could see those pretty flowers showing. I like that effect. She's added some tasteful glitter accents with that quickie glue and the angel whispers. And then we've put a flower down in the corner here that's combined rose gold and then some matching paper cutouts inside that little flower frame for a little bit smaller flower with the two leaves coming up. Inside, matching insert. Beautiful. Nice job, Brett. This next set is called Leave a Little Sparkle. We have martini glasses with flowers and vines draping off of the flower glasses, little pink butterflies around them. Celebrate, it's your day. Leave a little sparkle wherever you go, especially for you. This pretty little 3x3 topper multi-frame set here. And this nice, probably 4x4 next to it. Pretty. Got these pretty tasteful corner treatments on the printed. You can easily get 2 cards out of that. And here's our foiled piece. Look at those pretty foilings and that nice, fairly solid insert. I like that. That's beautiful. Here's the matching insert paper. Let's see what we did with them. First up, we have the martini glasses. Along one of those borders, you'll see that I actually trimmed a bit off of the border in order to show the ripples along the side here and still let the whole topper show. And I didn't put a lot of flowers on here. In this case, all I've done is add a leaf at the bottom and a little rhinestone here, some little tasteful glitter accents with the angel whispers, and I put little rhinestones as if they were anchoring this topper. And that's all I've done to the outside. These are, of course, up on some foam tape, as is the sentiment. Leave a little sparkle wherever you go, but I think that's very pretty and very tasteful. Inside, we have a matching insert with just one set of leaves. And I put a little tiny rose gold just to kind of tie the top and the bottom. Next up, we have that pretty little 4x4 butterflies. This is going to be on I believe this is on a US A2, a 4 1/4 by 5.5, but it might be an A6. I'm not certain, to tell you the truth. I am certain that I have a little rhinestone trying to escape its lot in life, which is supposed to be in the center of that butterfly. I like the way that the little flowers with the rhinestones played on this edge piece with the little ripples. And the only other thing we've done besides covering our card is to add some little accents, glitter accents with that quickie glue pen, put some rhinestones in the center of the butterflies. This is up on some foam tape and it just looked pretty just like that. Inside, we've taken a piece of our matching insert paper. We've just used a couple of our little flower shapes just to kind of represent a flower there and used a little border strip on the inside. I like that card a lot. Next up, here's one of our corners. And we have covered that is going to be, no, that's 4 1/4. Okay, this was an A2. Because this is an A2. This is a US A2, 4 1/4 by 5.5. So both of these last cards are done on A2s. And all I have done is covered my A2 card in a corner from that printed cardstock. And I've used throwaway pieces here and here, which are just pieces off of the topper set that were intended to just be clipped away, and they run up next to a foiled piece. Well, the foiling overlaps a little bit. You get these really pretty little borders. Don't throw those away until you're done making your cards, because as you can see here, they can come in really handy. This flower has been done using the Angel Whispers glitter, and this one has kind of this smoky, foggy effect because I didn't wipe it off. The foggy effect is really pretty, but I should have wiped it off because it is going to get glitter everywhere, all over your card recipient, which they may or may not actually like. It's still very beautiful, I think you'll agree. I like the smoky finish too. You could probably use a spray adhesive and get that smoky finish if that's what you want. But I took the extra off because I don't think that everybody would appreciate getting glitter all over them. But you see how the Angel Whispers actually turns pink when you put it on the rose gold? I think that's very pretty. And this is an example here of where I've actually put foam tape. You'll see these flowers have a little bit more movement. That's because I actually put foam tape between the layers to get a little bit of added height on this particular one. Next up, we've got a little Gatefold card using that little 3x3 multi-topper set. Again, I've built that up on a piece of cardstock because I don't like the pieces that come over the top to be real floppy. So I've created this on this piece here on a separate piece of cardstock, separating my layers, building 2 layers up on foam tape, gluing the inside layer down flat. And then I've taken one of my corner pieces off of that printed cardstock, and I have trimmed one to fit this side, one to fit this side. I put my little flower here up in the upper right-hand corner and then put a matching topper inside, especially for you. I think this is a really pretty little card. And finally, our fourth one from this set is this additional Martini glass. And in this case, I've taken a leftover piece of that foiled cardstock. I've trimmed it down to where I just barely get those little foiled coils in the bottom of my cardstock here, and I have a fairly solid color behind my base. I've broken that down in 3 pieces. I've set it a little bit extra to the left to give me room to put a flower in here. And I've put a flower with Angel Whispers. Again, this one's a little bit, you've got more movement here because it's actually got a foam square under it, creating more height from that flower. And we've got the little Angel Whispers glitter, creating little pink accents on the metallic flower. Inside, this is a piece of the double-sided paper with the little Martini glasses, and it says "Celebrate It's Your Day." This set's called Set Your Dreams Free, and it features wonderful little hummingbird images in all 4 of the toppers. It's just beautiful. Very soft pastel colors in the hummingbirds and in the background toppers. It's really, really a nice piece. So we've got these 2 larger multi-frame pieces. We've got these 2 smaller pieces, and then we've got these little arched sayings. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. And another little image here, set your dreams free, happy birthday to you, and for a special friend, as well as some nice borders, and an extra little hummingbird button up at the top there. Really beautiful topper sheet. Now look at this one. If you're using European A6 cards, you could actually, because that represents a quarter of one of these sheets, if you cut this carefully, you could actually get 4 toppers out of that one sheet with all 4 corners. Isn't that something? And look at this beautiful one. I think this is just gorgeous. You got this wonderful hummingbird in the cage up in the corner. Then you've got this beautiful foil border that is just so elegant. And all this beautiful soft pastel watercoloring. It just doesn't get any prettier than that. Here's our inserts. They kindly provide us with the same pattern, so you could get 4 inserts out of the same card. And you got one more insert that matches our foiled card here. Let's see what we did with them. These are also Brittany's cards. First up, here's that border I told you about with the hearts up and down. Look at that. I think that is so fun. That is so pretty. It's like they're almost like they're hanging on a laundry line or something, but I love those little hearts. And those hearts are also a really nice size that if you wanted individual hearts, you could easily clip those away from the border and use the hearts individually as well. Then she's done some very tasteful glittering in the corner here. This is going to be on an A2 card, a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. She's cut out her Be My Valentine, and she has her a 1/4-inch border, 1/8-inch border all the way around. So she's cut this topper 1/4 of an inch smaller on each dimension. Really beautiful. I love this card. It's so tasteful. And she used one of her little inserts. Okay, here's one she's done on, it's also on an A2 card. She's just cut that beautiful pastel paper, and she has rough cut around her acetate, around her topper, attached her topper directly to the acetate. The acetate is attached under this piece so that you can't see the tape. Put one of those pretty little glittered hearts. It just didn't need any more than that. And then she's put matching insert paper on the inside with a pretty border. Next up, Brittany really made good use of the acetate. I love her cards. Okay, here's another A2 card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This time she's used a 1/4-inch border, which means she's cut her toppers to a 1/2 inch smaller on each dimension. She's added a piece of that rose gold foiled acetate to the side. In fact, all over this piece, and they're actually attached under these toppers, this topper and this one. You can also, I noticed when I was doing one of these, you can also put a spot of our best glue ever right in the center of the buds of these roses, and it won't show. Isn't that pretty though? Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Matching paper on the inside. Here's her larger corner topper. And she's covered her, this is a European A6, she's covered, it's roughly 4 by 6 inch card with rose gold Mary. She's cut her papers a 1/2 inch narrower and a 1/2 inch taller, shorter, so that she'll get a 1/4 of an inch border all the way around. And then she's just used this pretty, now this is all paper flowers. And then she used just the rose gold leaf. And on her paper, she's added the Angel Whispers glitter, and that's a beautiful, beautiful flower there. Very pretty, and it matches her topper really pretty. On the inside, she's got that, Believe You Can, and You're Halfway There saying, and a matching insert. That's a beautiful card. Next up, she's taken a USA 6 for 5 by 6 1/2. She's covered it in rose gold Mary. Then she has cut a topper piece down to actually a little less. Let's see what size she's got here. She actually put this border up here. And so I'm going to say this is cut a 1/2, 3/4. It's cut 3/4 of an inch less this direction. So it was 6 1/2. That'd be 5 3/4 if my math is right, by 4 1/2. So she's got this 1/4 of an inch border on these three sides, and she's got a 3/4 inch border or a 1/2 inch border at the top. She's put this border on with some foam tape, which also acts as the attachment for one of the attachments for her acetate. She's put a full-size sheet of acetate over the top, so she's cut that acetate to be 5 by 6 1/2. And she's put a little sentiment button here and anchored under that. She's also anchored under her topper that she's split in 2 pieces. She's put her center down flat and then put this up on some foam tape. That's a really, really pretty card. Nicely done, Miss Brittany. On the inside, she's got Be My Valentine with a matching insert. And finally, she's used her other topper set, and I like the way she did this one too. She has used a 5 by 6.5 card. She has covered that in acetate. This time she's used that kind of triangle pattern acetate. That's beautiful. She's used this border across the top to partially anchor it. She's also anchored under this sentiment, under this topper. And this topper is glued down flush to the acetate. And then there's tape under the acetate here attaching it to her card as well. She's put all this up on foam squares. And she's put her button up on an extra layer of foam squares. She's doubled her foam squares here on the side. See that? She's doubled the foam squares on the outer edge and then put one here so that this happy birthday will lay flat. And that is just a really, really elegant and pretty card. Now, one thing you'll notice is she used a 3-piece frame, but she took the frame piece out of the center and let her background show through. That's a really nice effect. Matching insert, used her little archway. Extra piece on the inside just for added interest. Beautiful, Brittany. 4 cards from that set. 5 cards from that set. You're going to get a lot of cards out of this topper set. We got 7 in total. This one's All My Tomorrows. And we have these sentimented tags. There's a total of 6 of them. Every day holds the possibility of a miracle. You are my today and all of my tomorrows. Oops, this one doesn't have a sentiment on it. This one says love. This one says the world of reality has its limits. The world of imagination is boundless. And this one says flowers are like friends. They bring color into your world. And we have a little just a note, handmade with love, thank you, and hugs and kisses, little sentiments on that sheet. So they're doing a lot on that one topper sheet. We've got this pattern. Now I have to admit, I didn't think much of this pattern when I looked at it. Wait till you see the finished cards. They're so pretty. Here's our foiled cardstock sheet. A beautiful heart, and then all this wonderful pattern in the rose gold. 2 insert sheets. If I can get them apart, I'll show them to you. Let's take a look at what we did with them. Okay. Here's our little martini glass. In this case, I had a piece left over of this border treatment from the other topper set that had the martini glasses on it. So I took that and I actually cut out around it a little bit. You can see that I've kind of rounded my edges there. And I applied that border on top of a pretty sedate piece of background, but it just kind of jazzed things up a little bit. Then I put one of my smaller flowers. This one's made by layering those, what are they, 6-point flower petals. The bottom one is just plain metallic, and then all of the subsequent levels are glittered. And my glittered leaves, and I think that ends up being a really pretty set. This is on a European A6 card, approximately 4 by 6. I know that because I'm using the Anita Shimmery cardstock. And I forgot to line that one. Oops. Here's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. This is done very simply. We're just cutting the corner out of that piece of printed cardstock. We're adding a little tiny line of rose gold Mary as an edge. We're adding a pretty Angel Whispers glittered flower to the top. And we just put the just a note right through the center of the flower. And I think that's just really pretty. On the inside, I've used the matching insert and just put a rose gold leaf at the top to kind of tie the themes together. Here's that tag that says every day holds the possibility of a miracle. In this case, we're using an A2 card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We made a topper by cutting our background to 3.75. No, 3.75 by 5. 5 1/2. Yeah, 3.75 by 5. I shouldn't try to do math at night. And here's our, I covered that background with a piece of acetate, and you can't see, but this is one where I have put I've put little dots of the best glue ever under the centers of the flowers. It might look just slightly darker, but you would never know that unless I told you that. And this is glued directly. I also have it taped down under this topper. And this time I've used the rose gold glittered flowers. I've added an extra little flower petal off to the side just for interest. And the rose gold leaves, matching insert, pretty. Okay, this is the one I told you. I said you don't think much of that background cardstock until you actually see it used on a card. I think it's beautiful with this topper. Really, really pretty. This is a European A6, I know, because it's on that neat shimmery paper again. And it is just covered in rose gold. Cut my topper sheet a 1/2 inch smaller each direction. Added my tag. I put 2 flowers on this one, a little 2-petal flower down here in the corner with some leaves coming up, a glittered larger flower coming down. I think it's really, really pretty. Inside, matching insert paper. Here's one of those that we talked about where we've actually used the textured. I used a piece of Brittany's leftover embossed Mary board, and I cut some flowers out of that. You can see that the texturizing, from the embossing holds, even though we're die cutting into that paper, and you get these really neat little indentations that, because it's on Mary, they really grab the light and throw it each direction, making that textured petal especially noticeable. This is the topper that just says love. And we've also, no, I was going to say we used acetate, but we didn't. That's just the foiled cardstock that's showing there. This also is on a European A6, that slightly off 4 by 6 card. Matching insert paper. Another one very similar. This time I'm only using 1 flower and 1 leaf coming out to the side. This is also on European A6, the 4 by 6 roughly, and it's up on some foam tape. I've added the flower. That's all I did. Matching insert. And I like this one where I'm taking the tag and kind of leaning it off to the side. It's another one of those European A6. It is roughly 4 by 6. The topper is cut a 1/2 inch smaller to allow me 1/4 inch borders all the way around. I'm using a combined paper and rose gold flower. My topper, another little branch swag for the bottom there, lined it with matching insert paper. Just didn't need any more than that. Very pretty. 7 cards from that set. I love this topper set. Happiness is a journey. Some of the sentiments say, let's find somewhere beautiful and get lost. Be happy, be bright, be you. This one says Rome. We've got Big Ben. We've got the Eiffel Tower. We've got with lots of love on your birthday. We've got the Statue of Liberty. We've got happiness is a journey, not a destination. We've got this beautiful border treatment. Gorgeous topper set. Matching printed card. Matching foiled card, that pretty Eiffel Tower in the corner. And I don't know if you can catch it on camera, it's got beautiful rose foiling on that Eiffel Tower. We've got these little Eiffel Tower insert and the border treatment insert. Let's see what we did with them. Now, I have to explain something here before we get going, that in some cases you're going to have to make a choice. When we celebrated a late Christmas with my in-laws, we had a card making party and we used some of the toppers. So I went and got some more toppers of those sets out of the storeroom. But I couldn't just leave them here unmade. So in some cases I have more than one card sample for you to choose from. And you have to pick which one you like better in order to determine which one to make if you're following our card designs. So I'll explain that in advance and I'll show you some of your choices. This one we only have one of. Isn't that beautiful though? Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. We've got the Eiffel Tower in the center. This is done on a 5x7 card. That's a big topper, so it needed a 5x7. It's covered in our background cardstock. One thing I did do here, I really liked the way this pattern played with that topper. So I cut the border off the top and I moved it down, and then I used this border behind here to hide my join. So I have border on the top, on the bottom I have this beautiful border going under my topper. I've got the three-piece frame, outer part up on foam tape, center piece glued flush, inside raised on foam tape, and then I used one of those flowers that's made out of the colored paper and the rose gold. Added with lots of love on your birthday, and I think that card is just as pretty as they get. That's beautiful. Matching insert paper, done. Okay, here's the first of your choices. Both of these are made with the corner treatment off of the foiled cardstock. Let's go through each of them individually. This one's done on a side stepper card. I cut the little design out, actually fairly tight in, and I surrounded that with rose gold, made my rose gold just wide enough to cover the stand-up part on my side step. I covered my background in, actually this is done in some double-sided paper. I added my border across the bottom. Happiness is a journey, not a destination. I added Rome, Statue of Liberty, some other little foiled flowers here. I think that card is beautiful. So it looks like standing up. Hope you can see that on camera. Really, really pretty. Next up, our other choice is this one. Now in this one I've had to do a little card magic to this one because, as you will recall, the card, or the printed card, the design comes clear up to the edge of the card. And I had this pretty border on this side, but I wanted to make this center in my card. So I cut a piece, I cut this piece. Can I have that cardstock on? There we go. All right, easier to show you. So I've cut and covered my, this is an A6, sorry, this is a US A6, which means it's 5 by 6.5. I cut this part, and I covered my card with that. Then then I added borders on both sides. Taking this border piece, I cut it here, and I added it here to make this beautiful pattern on either side of that side part. I butted them right up against the topper, and you can't even tell, even if I get in fairly close. Is that going to be fuzzy, or is that seeable? Okay, good. You cannot tell that I cut those pieces and added them here. Put my happy birthday up on some foam tape, added my little paper and rose gold flower, matching insert sent with love. I didn't show you the inside of this one, I don't think. matching insert. So there's one choice. You got to decide between those two. I know that's really unkind because they're both really, really pretty, but that was fun. So much fun the first time I had to do it again. Okay, here's another choice. This one's a little easier, I think. This one's fairly simple. I was getting down towards the end of finishing, and I had this piece of cardstock, I had this topper, I said, yeah, they work, and I put them together. So this is on I believe it's on a 5x7. Yeah, that's fairly wide. And all I've done is split my topper, glued the center flush, raised these on foam tape, put my thank you on foam tape. Inside, I've lined it, put in one of our glittered hearts. Pretty and simple. This one's more involved. This is a piece of our double-sided paper. We're using a 6x6 gatefold card. I've covered both sides in rose gold. Then I've cut these little panels to be, let's see, it's a 1/4 inch border in total. So these are going to be, we can do this, 2 1/4, yeah, 2 1/4 by 5 3/4. And I've covered both panels with that. I've made this set on a piece of my matching cardstock, and I've layered this as I often do, higher, flush, and higher. Here's my metallic flower up around the edge. Over here I've added just a little colored embellishment and some leaves coming up from my Be Happy, Be Bright, Be You. On the inside we've got Let's Find Somewhere Beautiful and Get Lost. And there's that heart border again. I think that heart border is really pretty. Here's a piece of throwaway that's been used as a border up at the top. Pretty. So that's your choice there. I did the same thing with this card set. This is another set where we'll have to make some choices. This one's called Always There For You. You've got these two nice big toppers, and you have these interesting littler ones. I may not always be there with you, but I'm always there for you. Love that. Image, thank you, just for you, happy birthday, wishing you the most beautiful day. And a couple other little buttons. Matching cardstock. Here's our foiled cardstock, that pretty corner, and then this beautiful foiling along the edge. Here's our insert sheets. Let's see what we did with them. Keep these within range. Okay, you ready? Here's another of our... Bryce turned the camera back on. I didn't know. He's over here beating on me. Here's an A2 card. We just cut the corner topper. Put this up on some foam tape. We've covered, of course, with some mirror board. Cut this piece to fit and allow a 1/4 inch border. Where flowers bloom, so does hope. We've got these little mirror board leaves sticking out. I just didn't think it needed a lot more than that. Lined on the inside. Here's your second choice, and this one's way more deluxe and more beautiful. This one's one of Brittany's creations. She has covered her 5x5 card with embossed Mary. She has then taken a piece of pink cardstock and matted her corner piece again to just bring more color into her card. She has outlined with a quickie glue pen, added some tasteful glittering accents to her flowers and butterflies, and added Just For You topper. This is beautiful. On the inside, she has her insert, and she's put her little rose topper right in the center of her insert. That is a beautiful card. So this was another one of your choices. Okay, I'm going to be really mean to you now. You have to choose between these. And they're both gorgeous. I love these cards. Let's go through them individually. This is on a 5x7 card. We've taken that little wishing you the most beautiful day and used that with the flower frames dies. Cut 2 dies out of rosemary. We've just covered our 5x7 card with using the piece that has the foiling on it. Run this beautiful little flower embellishment down both sides, added that topper to the center, and it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous card. It's so pretty, and yet it's so simple in many ways. It's just beautiful. Inside, we've got it lined with matching insert paper. We added a little line across here. I actually think I used 2 separate pieces of insert because I was running out of matching insert, and that's what the line is across there, is the join, but the line looks great in there. And we've added the little topper inside. That's beautiful. Okay, there's one choice. Here's the other choice, and it's equally beautiful. Here we go. We've taken a 5x5 card. We've cut the flower frames. In one case I used one flower frame, in one case I used the other. I think you could do either one or both. We've added the little beautiful day. We've used a fairly solid piece of cardstock in the back, put that beautiful acetate over the top of that fairly solid pattern, and then added our rose gold die cutting to the top. We've anchored the acetate from the top and the bottom using these border strips, which were throwaway pieces. I can tell because they're only foiled on one edge. And we've glued down the acetate on the top and the bottom using those strips. Then I've added those stones I told you about. We'll put these on the supplies list. Don't those stones look beautiful with this card? It's not too much, it's not too glittery. It just adds that extra touch of elegance. They're really beautiful. And they really match the flowers. Inside, we've got a 5x5 insert with a little button. But you have to choose which one of those to do based on the use of that topper. Can you imagine you could do those cards with a less than 2 inch topper? Gorgeous. Next up, I only have one of these. This one is done on a 6x6 card. We have just put a piece of, I think, double-sided paper over a piece of double-sided paper over the card blank, and then I've cut a piece of the foiled roses acetate and put over the entire thing. In this case, I have anchored my acetate once again behind these rosebuds, just putting a dot of my best glue ever. And then I actually didn't even anchor it, but you can see it's holding really well. I could anchor it if I chose to do so, or I was concerned about it. I could anchor it behind this topper too, but it's holding really nicely. Okay, I've broken my frame into 3 pieces, foam tape, glued flush, foam tape behind here. My little button, thank you, I have foam tape under the edge of that, then it's glued on top here. I've got my metallic flower with this does have some Angel Whispers glitter accents on my flower. Inside, matching insert paper, little button, pretty. Okay. This is another choice, but fortunately they're very similar. There's not much difference between the two of these. So, in fact, I've even used the same toppers. So we've got the foiling to the left on a 6x6 card, up on foam tape, glued flat, up on foam tape, edge on foam tape. The other side is resting on my topper. This has glittered rose gold flowers. Inside, matching insert, little image. This one is done almost identically. The bordering is on the right side. This time, instead of the all rose gold flower, I'm using rose gold and paper flower. Happy birthday. I've put some little rhinestones on here as well, which I didn't on the other one. This one is also glittered in the center, which the other one wasn't. And matching insert paper. I had a piece of border left, I put it there. And this is one of my favorite cards from this set. I may not always be there with you, but I'm always there for you. This is done on a center stepper card using that flower frame once again. I'm adding my topper just on top of that frame and putting that on some foam tape. This has been covered with, actually, I believe this is a piece of double-sided paper. No, it's actually cardstock. I've covered this with cardstock. I put, see that little extra border there? I put that little extra border there just to give it just a little bit extra panache. And that, again, is literally just an extra piece of that little embossed Mary. You can use even the smallest pieces. And look here, see these borders? Those are done with little 1/8" strips of that embossed Mary. I've put my flower borders in on my side pieces, cut little 1x4" pieces to slide in here. And it's not a terribly involved card, although it does look like a very involved card. Lined it. Lining this is actually fairly easy. You take a 5x6.5" piece of insert paper and then cut a 1x1 notch out of either side of it, and it slides right in. That's those. For those of you who are counting, you may wonder what it is we're going to talk about after this break, since we have already done 8 topper sets. Well, in the rose gold kit, they give you these 6 extra images that are just tossed into the package. So of course we had to do something with them. This one's called Rose Gold Radiance. This one's called Rose Gold Centerpieces. And so we've made cards out of these 6. I thought this would be a good time to show you the double-sided papers as well. So we'll take a very quick run through the double-sided papers. And I'm just going to go through them real quickly here. We've got the triangles backed by that beautiful pastel, swirly marbleized pastel colors. We've got the all-over butterflies in pink, black, and white butterflies. On the back side, we've got kind of a pink tiled, really small tiled pattern. On this side, we've got those beautiful loopy gold image in an all-over pattern. On this side, we have kind of an ombre pink that starts with an intense pink and fades out to a very light. On this side, we have Martini glasses that fades out, and on the back side, we have what look like alcohol labels that say vermouth and other things on them. This one, we have a world map. It's backed by a wonderful mosaic kind of pattern in light brown with white veining. We've got this beautiful script handwriting. It's not legible. It looks like it might be in French. And it's got travel stamps on the edges. On the back, we've got a nice kind of orange to red tile pattern. We've got this pretty all-over pattern with kind of a salmon to pink background with orange pattern on top and an all-over pattern. backed by all over pink roses. We've got these pink triangles backed by a kind of an orange soft tiled pattern. We've got the flowers that were used in the Flamingo set, backed by a nice light yellow to brown tiled pattern. We've got this kind of marbled and faded yellows and oranges with kind of a floral pattern more at the edges, backed by kind of a tile pattern on the back and soft tans and browns. We've got this salmon color paper backed by those bright flowers. Once again, I'm not sure if those were nope, those aren't the flamingos, those were in one of the other sets. We've got this all over bright floral pattern backed by kind of a marbled pink. We've got this beautiful kind of marbled and mottled pastel tones in yellows and blues, and oranges and reds and whites, backed by a mosaic pattern in pinks. We've got this really absolutely stunningly beautiful rose pattern, all over print, backed by kind of a filigree floral pattern in white. We've got this kind of ghosted pattern in light pastels, backed by some kind of flowers that escape me. I don't know, pink all over flower design. And we've got kind of this tile design backed by these pretty orange and brown flowers and butterflies. Let's see what we've done with these toppers and some of those papers. Okay, here's the first of those toppers. Here's our little hummingbird. In each case, I think in almost every case, I have taken the little toppers, cut them out because you have to cut these are not die cut, and backed them in mirror board to create a topper. And then I've just used both my double-sided papers and my leftover cardstock to create backgrounds for them. There's any number of different patterns that'll work great for these. In this one, I have created not only my small or my mid-size flower with the glittering on it. I've added 3 little accent flowers around it with their leaf patterns coming up. I need to re-glue that one. That one's trying to get away. On this one, I've taken the Eiffel Tower, mounted it on that green triangular paper, which I think is just beautiful. Added metallic flowers around it, matching insert, good to go. Next up, we've taken that butterfly, put him on some Mary, added a piece of leftover cardstock background. That's on a piece of, or on a A4 card that's covered with Mary board. I think almost all of these, or at least 4 of these, are done on A6, the 4x6 cards. Matching insert with a little leaf accent in the center. Here's this beautiful roses. We have a rose gold topper across the top of that. That's all glittered. Mary, that one doesn't happen to be lined. And now I want to show you what I've done with the last two. I'm particularly proud of this. So I ended up having all these borders left. And you know me, I have a real hard time throwing things away. So I was looking at those and thinking there's got to be something that I could do with those. So I started playing with them, and I created a pattern out of them. Can you see that well on the camera, honey? Mm-hmm. And I created this pattern that actually put a background behind it, put a border around it, and even a little topper, and it would have been pretty. But I want to show you what I did with it. I took one of my small toppers off of this set, and I cut a heart out of it. And I mounted my heart right in the center of the little grid I created. and I put a topper in the center of that, and I love that. And that's made out of my leftover rings from my flowers. Isn't that pretty? Lined it and put a couple of little hearts inside. Love it. Well, I also had some of these left over, so I chained those together. Now, it takes a little getting used to get these in here, but with a little patience, they go right in. And you can, well, it does when I'm not on camera. Push this down in the center. Come on, let's get cooperative. There we go. You know you got it in right when you kind of got this little diamond pattern. And if you look, these look so elegant when they're chained together. It almost looks like wire work or something because they're so fine to begin with. This is what I did with those. I used 4 of those little strips, glued them down to my cardstock backing, added my martini glass topper on there, put another little flower across, a little heart at the top, and I love the way that turned out. That's out of my leftovers. So, there you go. This is the Rose Gold Moments collection from Hunkydory. We have 47 cards, plus 6 more choice cards for you, so a total of 53 card designs for you in today's video. If you like what you see, you'll want to sign up for our newsletter, because newsletter subscribers receive a newsletter that not only tells you when we've posted a new video, it will also send you links to all of the supplies we used in the video. They're all available in our store, www.simplyspecialcrafts.com. At the bottom of the page is a newsletter link. Sign up for a newsletter, and we will be happy to notify you when new videos are available. I hope that you'll consider this video to be a happy Valentines from me, Debbie, at Simply Special Crafts, as well as my family at Simply Special Crafts. We love our customers. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.